In this video, I'm going to teach you about the individual meanings of the suit of wands, and we're starting right now. Hi, my name is Robert Stanford, and I've been reading Tarot for over 30 years. If you're interested in learning Tarot and other Tarot-related stuff, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. I publish videos every week. Click the link in the description below or go to stanfordtarot.com. You should also pick up my e-book. It's very affordable. It's very detailed. Everything that I go over in these videos is included in there and a little bit more. That e-book also gets updated for free. Very good investment on your path to learning Tarot. The Ace of Wands. Aces, as always, are the beginnings of new cycles. A cycle defined as a new situation or circumstance. Always something new. New offer or relationship with a business partner, a new idea, the start of a business or creative venture. Plans being laid for the future. In the upright position, there is sufficient forethought involved in designing those plans. The possible obstacles are being considered in a balanced way, not too negative and not overly optimistic. A solid first step on a journey of a new project, relationship, etc. Other cards in the Celtic cross spread will illuminate just what this new venture or adventure is all about. Ace of Wands inverted. When this card is inverted, it lends itself less to the notion that the ideas that are being pursued are even at all realistic. The whole picture is not being looked at objectively. Hastiness and relying on the everything will be fine attitude will generally cause this new venture to be riddled with unforeseen problems. Therefore, the foundations that are being laid for the new cycle is hasty and ill thought out. It can be a charade or a con game, a scheme, if you will, be devised, a story that is not based on objective reality, the beginning of a complicated scheme that is hastily executed. The resulting next cards in the wand cycle will more than likely continue to be primarily inverted. The budding new venture will be like that of a pipe dream. The wheels may be spinning, but the groundwork being laid is hastily and randomly pursued. Within the suit of wands, the interest and the eagerness that these new ideas are approached are with much disinterest and low motivation. Shortcuts are likely to be taken. Without a predominance of swords within the Celtic cross spread, this is even more so. To reverse this card to the upright position would be desirable if it is determined that it is the querent that has generated the proposals regarding this 10-card cycle. Because of the nature of the suit, the likelihood of the querent having great control over the situation and able to stop, look, and listen to their ideas. Two of Wands. The decision to pursue one or both of 10-card cycles of wands, both being positive to a degree, determined by other cards in the Celtic cross spread. However, also there is the matter of choosing both if the querent would be able to handle both. Plans would be being made for both 10-card cycle of wands, as the idea of both are now taking shape and showing actual progress. Both are strong and successful. Where other court cards appear in the reading would generally show the major players of both projects. Two of Wands inverted. When this card is inverted, it generally indicates that it is a natural inverted progression from the inverted Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands would have a high coincidence factor of appearing in the Celtic cross spread, as it is so closely connected to the Two of Wands. In instances that it does, it would be appropriate to derive that this means that the ideas are relatively new and recently devised. Many of the obstacles would be appearing immediately in both choices of the 10-card cycle of wands. Not interested really in either one, and all progress to date is annoying and cumbersome. Still early enough to make changes, yet as opposed to the above, the choices of one or both expand to one both, or neither. The latter being the wisest choice if, for instance, other cards illuminate what these choices are to a highly negative extent. Though both choices can be positive, by the very nature of this suit of wands, that can dramatically change depending upon prevalent cards appearing in the Celtic cross spread. Fear of the responsibilities, and with this card, the responsibilities are beginning to show. Problems that were never thought of are starting to arise in both situations to a taxing degree. If the choices are desirable, to reverse this card would require organization and better planning. Better foundations need to be laid for the positive journey of these two 10-card cycle of wands. The Three of Wands. After having witnessed the results of the person's primary 10-card cycle of wands, there's much enthusiasm and great pride taken in the stock of this individual's arsenal of tools. This person is prepared to grow within this 10-card cycle of wands. Obstacles that have arisen have been dealt with and learned from. Solid foundations have been constructed and are still being constructed. There may be two primary 10-card cycle of wands that are in motion. By that I mean two ventures concurrently transpiring that attention by the individual is paid relatively equally. And there may be only one. And they may be both intermixed. As the cycle progresses, it is more difficult to determine these things and the prevalence of other suit and major arcana cards. Three of Wands inverted. One or more 10-card cycle of wands have commenced with the full participation of the individual. However, it has been a shaky start. Many aspects of the venture have been half-heartedly started, and if even completed, not fully complete. Some or many obstacles have been completely ignored or only partially dealt with. A great deal of out of sight, out of mind attitude has greatly affected whatever efforts have been put forth toward reaching the goals that were originally formulated with this card when it was an Ace of Wands, inverted or upright. Not prepared for any further delays, obstacles, or problems in the venture, yet moving ahead as though the individual was prepared for whatever might come their way. The Four of Wands. Having become accustomed to the success of the Three of Wands period, this would be a reaping of the harvest from seeds that were planted and nurtured through adulthood of the 10-card cycle of wands. It may also be the beginning of marriage, if a relationship is prominently indicated by the Celtic cross spread. Four of Wands inverted. Possible success, but not what was expected early on in the 10-card cycle of wands previously. The primary reason for the shortfall in success is a negative attitude that has been in effect and may very well be in effect now. Disappointment in the fruits of the labor that has transpired before, however, may be due to faulty foundations previously, lack of organization, haphazard planning that has been done previously in the 10-card cycle of wands. Probability of many previous inversions in this 10-card cycle of wands is very high. Not showing enough appreciation, perhaps giving the impression that the individual is blaming others involved in the venture for the shortfall, when in all probability, the individual is the one that primarily did not put forth the required diligence and effort to achieve the goals that were originally targeted early in the 10-card cycle of wands. You need to show more appreciation to those surrounding the individual and those that are involved in the venture that is transpiring within this 10-card cycle of wands. Five of Wands. As the 10-card cycle of wands has matured, now comes the time when the individual is extremely absorbed into the venture and others are taking notice of the success. It is very important to take note of any other court cards in the Celtic cross spread, as these will be the people that are taking the notice. Depending upon the individual that this card applies to, as it could be the querent or another, there is the extreme likelihood of others in the individual's vicinity of the venture being very envious or jealous of the individual and their success. There's a tendency for the individual to over-dramatize and embellish the success and obstacles of the venture. But that does not detract from the fact that they are still taking a serious presence. Just perhaps not as much as the individual may allude to with their bragging. It is in the bragging that usually has brought the envious and jealous feelings of others. The Five of Wands inverted. People will approach the individual bearing this card as very nice, cordial, and congratulatory. However, they will have hidden and competitive agendas behind these social gestures that provide validation for the individual. The individual may be having a too good to be true feeling about this particular 10-card cycle of wands as those expressing congratulations, since the individual will know what they do not is that any success garnered at this point, even if that success has been derived from previous upright cards within the 10-card cycle of wands, is to some degree unstable. Because if not from the beginning, then recently, foundations have not received the necessary attention and discipline that they require. This is what will make current enjoyed success perhaps fleeting. These people will provide a distraction for the individual, yet the individual can easily rise above this by disassociating with these individuals early on if they are new in the individual's life. The Six of Wands. This card represents the darkest before the dawn situation. There is an enduring success, yet more obstacles that seemed harder than they were to overcome, but have now been overcome, and the resulting success is just moments away, as in days at the most. A position of leadership is possible, probable, and most appropriate at this time. However, the success and gains that have been garnered through this 10-card cycle of wands is more easily seen by others than the individual themselves. The Six of Wands inverted. Unable to get anything done regarding the venture. Great possibility of overpromising and under-delivering. Expecting praise from others, but they do not see success on the same scale as the individual of this card does. They are more realistic and objective than the individual regarding a current assessment on present progress and success. The Seven of Wands. A card of experience that has been earned through overcoming many obstacles that have naturally arisen through this 10-card cycle of wands. In short, the obstacles are repeating themselves. Rather than dealing with new situations produced by this 10-card cycle of wands, they have been challenged and resolved before, if not once, multiple times. As pragmatic action is applied with new methods developed from the previous experience, this 10-card cycle of wands begins to run as a more fine-tuned machine. A process is in place. The expectation of future success is more dignified in confidence than ever before. The Seven of Wands inverted. Depending upon the number of inversions that may have occurred during this 10-card cycle of wands, and despite their indicated attention to foundations, which were for the most part incomplete, if even laid, by the very nature of the suit of wands, there is a measure, however great, of positiveness and growth in this card. Yet usually it is a smaller percentage than the burden that this venture has become. There is still the lingering disappointment for the shortcomings of the venture that were caused by previous inversions. However many or any there have previously been, the prevalence of inversions in the deck, according to their placement in the Celtic cross spread, can lend itself to indicating if there may be multiple. The individual will be emotional to a degree that will cause the person to veer toward tendencies of impulsiveness, thereby making decisions in haste at this time, overpromising and or undercharging, devaluing oneself rather than considering many consequences that they have caused themselves by not fully applying themselves to this 10-card cycle of wands. The Eight of Wands. This card represents a growth spurt in a long-nurtured venture. From previous under-assumptions of the degree of success achieved previously, there comes great excitement, contentment, and joy while enjoying the fruits of the individual's labor. However, it is like having more orders than you had anticipated. There are still great challenges, but the obstacles that arise are few and can be determined by other cards in the Celtic Cross spread. From this growth comes the responsibilities necessary to maintain the upright positions in this 10-card cycle of wands. Obstacles that arise at this time are new and great, though many are familiar. Travel, relocation, even locally, large acquisitions or commitments, loans, etc. But they're manageable. Innovation solves practically all of the problems this card would represent. The Eight of Wands inverted. Not making the quota, falling behind. Success is a fraction of what was originally expected. The individual probably cycles through previous inversions within this 10-card cycle of wands. A time of incurring debt without strong enough equity to repay, overreaching and overcommitting. If there is a prevalence of pentacles in the Celtic Cross spread, this will lend itself to strife in relationships, domestic quarrels more than usually due to financial pressures. Very easy for the individual to go negative in a relationship and become distant, only venturing out to be argumentative with others. The Nine of Wands. In many video games, there is a section in which the challenge is to beat the toughest character in the game before one can finally win. They call it the boss. That's what this card is. All of the foundations that have been built through this 10-card cycle of wands are coming to bear to generate the success and fulfillment of this suit of wands. This is the point at which this 10-card cycle of wands will provide the final obstacles necessary to fulfill this suit, to endure with the next card, the Ten of Wands. Nine of Wands inverted. Lack of motivation, feeling like the entire project has not been worth it. Overall, lower than expected level of success. Pretty much at the point of no return, though. The foundations that have been built have been weak, with nearly the highest expectation for multiple inversions in the previous 10-card cycle of wands. The probability is so high that it is not as necessary to rely upon other card positions in the reading to determine this. This card in an inverted position is a testament to faulty foundations. Obstacles that should be routine are still as they were new to the individual for the most part, because any efficient methods that would have otherwise been put in place, including historically resolving the obstacles previously in the 10-card cycle of wands, the individual is ill-prepared to take on the largest obstacles of the 10-card cycle of wands. Even though its actual size may be dependent upon the effort, still, it just hasn't been put forth previously in this cycle of wands. The individual may very well realize that this entire 10-card cycle of wands has not been worth the effort. However, the individual is now too invested. No turning back now. The Ten of Wands. The culmination of the complete 10-card cycle of wands, the outcome of the foundations of what was manifest by the individual, has come full circle to fruition of its maximum potential. Though it may spurn another cycle just the same or expanded, another cycle will have the opportunity to commence. Lower cards, such as 1 through 5 of wands appearing in the Celtic Cross spread, would indicate that this has already commenced. The Ten of Wands inverted. As this is the culmination of the 10-card cycle of wands and is inverted, one can be confident that this 10-card cycle of wands has suffered many inversions through its process. There is a significant amount of success, but not at all what was originally expected. The likelihood of commencing another 10-card cycle of wands is just as significant as above. However, it will be a time to break the cycles that caused the numerous inversions previously. Some of these may even be elsewhere in the Celtic Cross spread.